Welcome to IHIP News. Pumps, what you got?
Well, it is do or die now for Merrick Garland. Jack Smith has prepared 2 binders full of a report based on his investigation into Trump's stealing of classified documents and the January 6th insurrection. Trump's team naturally has sent a letter to Merrick Garland asking them not to publish the report. And I just want to say that reports by the special counsel are routinely made public. They're paid for with public funding. They are public record. So naturally, because Trump is guilty of sin, he is trying to block the release of that information. Well, in addition to sending a letter to Merrick Garland, Trump's attorneys, who are going to be appointed to the Justice Department, by the way, have made a motion with Aileen Cannon in Florida, who previously dismissed the classified documents case. But of course, she has made an order that the report should not be released, even though she doesn't really have jurisdiction. So what's going to happen? Will the report order from Judge Cannon be appealed to the 11th Circuit, which will obviously reverse it before the inauguration? Because after the inauguration, that report is gone forever. My thought is Merrick Garland should just release the report.
It's the least he could do.
The very least he could do. He has given this country the biggest dog shit reelected person because he didn't prosecute him in time. This is what, like you said, it's the least he can do. It is the bare minimum.
I have another idea.
Okay.
Some patriot right now that works for Jack Smith needs to leak this thing to the press like nobody's business. Get it out there. Send it. Just send this huge hickey out there and let his presidency start with him spiraling, because all of the dirty, horrible, awful things that he did are truly exposed. I mean, we've all seen enough, and enough has already been exposed, but I think every single thing he's done needs to be public, and it needs to be for public consumption.
I completely agree. And if it is not released, if Merrick Garland doesn't have the courage to release it, which, let's be honest, I don't have a lot of faith in that, I assume that the report will be destroyed. At least, hopefully he'll put it in the archives so that the next generation can read it, and at some point we can see it.
Pumps.
I know.
They can archive that all they want to. He will govern differently. It won't matter if somebody says, hey, it's archived. He'll say, I don't give a shit. Go get it and destroy it. And that will happen. I mean, this is right. That 1,000,000% will happen. If this is not released, it's gone forever.
I agree. And I think we do. Here's what cracks me up about the whole thing. His supporters, as he has said, he could walk down and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they wouldn't care. But he's trying so desperately to block it. His supporters are going to say, oh, it's fake news. Oh, it's Biden's Justice Department, all that stuff. But he sure is trying to block the report, which tells me it is very in-depth and shows his absolute culpability.
When I think about the fact that he stole classified classified documents from the United States government and took them to the Roach Motel that is Mar-a-Lago and had them stored in his horribly decorated restroom. And they kept saying, hey, we need our shit back. Hey, we need our shit back. And that went on for, isn't it like a year?
18 months. They begged him.
If Barack Obama, if Joe Biden, if any Democrat had stolen classified documents from the United States government and had them at their Fleabag Motel in Florida, the feds would have gone in and raided within 24 hours and said, fuck you, this belongs to the people. The fact that they dicked around with this thing for 18 months is why we lose elections. We govern differently.
I completely agree. And that is such a brilliant point. These belong to the American people. Give them back. You didn't give them back. Boom. We're coming in and taking them.
And he has like all of these, he has Viktor Orban hanging out with him.
Right.
Who's like direct link to Vladimir Putin. He's got Bolsonaro from Brazil going and hanging out. He's got the MyPillow guy, all these unhinged alcoholics running around Mar-a-Lago. And he had like massively classified stuff. And I believe, and you'll have to correct me, you may remember this. Didn't he tell somebody from Australia some sort of like military type operation? And the person was like, I don't know that I should know this.
Right. The Australian billionaire was there, and he was telling that Trump was telling the Australian billionaire all about the military subs and what their capability was, like submarines. And he went back and was just like, what? What is happening? Like, he is the absolute worst because he wants everybody to think, I'm so great. He knows all this stuff.
Think about it for a second. He stole the classified documents after he lost an election, riled up all of his redneck supporters to go, barnstorm the Capitol. And then they find out after all of that he stole classified documents, military secrets, and they dithered around for 18 months. It's unbelievable. And then we're wondering why the Democrats lose, because the Democrats need to grow some fangs. If he's so dangerous and somebody shouldn't have our documents and somebody is hanging around with a bunch of crackhead adversaries of ours, you send the feds in much sooner. You give them one chance. We need these documents back right now. He says, no, we say we're coming in and we're getting them and we're arresting your ass and we're throwing you in jail. That's just how it should have gone down.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. In other legal news for the president-elect, as we all know, he was convicted of 4 felony counts in New York, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's case. He is set to be sentenced January 10th. He wanted it to, of course, be delayed until, well, first of all, he wanted it dismissed forever. The judge said no. Then the judge said, we're going to go ahead and do it before the inauguration. Indicated there wouldn't be jail time, which is a disappointment, but I can live with that. So then he went to the New York court, the New York Supreme Court, in an interim emergency appeal to say this sentencing needs to be stopped. And they immediately responded and said, the motion is denied. So as of now, unless he gets an emergency order from this United States Supreme Court, which this is a state case, so I would think that would not be happening. But, we've got Aileen Cannon in Florida making orders about a Washington, D.C. case and a Florida case that she dismissed. So who knows? But as of right now, he's going to be sentenced January 10th. And again, he's a convicted felon. His supporters don't care. He's not going to jail. You would think he'd just want to get it over with. But then it's another opportunity for him to grift and be a victim, I guess. I just don't get it.
The fact that he does all of this stuff with impunity is so grotesque and disgusting. And then you hear the Republicans say stuff like, we're the party of law and order. And it's just like, shut up. It's so gross. And this man is such a stain on civilization.
He really
such
is.
A stain on the United States. And every single person that felt so justified in voting for him, I think needs massive psychotherapy. I'm dead serious.
And as you're saying, it's a stain. That is the perfect segue to Trump gave a speech Tuesday, and he said, a reporter asked him, can you rule out using economic or military coercion to overtake Greenland or the Panama Canal? And guess what he said? No. What on earth is happening? I get the Panama Canal. I get that it's, they use it. Greenland. What are you doing with Greenland? Why do you give a shit so much about Greenland?
Pumps, being business owners, we know that every missed call is a missed opportunity, but potential customers will not wait. They'll just call the next business on their list. That's why I'm so happy I've discovered OpenPhone. You'll never let another customer's call go unanswered.
They have built a system at OpenPhone that lets you track when your calls are answered, who responded, and how they handled it, all in one place, letting you focus on your growing business.
Listener, OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system. They'll help you separate your personal life from your growing business. For just $15 a month, That's the cost of a few coffees. You get complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business phone number. OpenPhone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with HubSpots and hundreds of other systems. It's affordable and easy to use, whether you're a one-person operation and need help managing calls automatically or have a large team and need better tools for efficient collaboration. OpenPhone is a no-brainer. Right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/IHIP. That's OpenPhone.com/IHIP for 20% off of 6 months. openphone.com/IHIP. And if you have an existing number with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. Well, I just read that he sent his dipshit cokehead son, Don Jr., to Greenland. And let's just have a hypothetical here. Let's say that Barack Obama's president and he sends Sasha or Malia to Greenland. Can you imagine the stage 5 meltdown all the flea bags would be having right now? Because I don't want anybody to confuse what MAGA is. These are parasites. Right. This is a parasitic cult, and they just suck off of people. They lie to the working class. They use their faith to manipulate them into supporting Trump. They riff-raff, knick-knack, sell them all the flea market shit that he does. And somehow they've convinced all of these flea bags that Don Jr. should be a voice that needs to be heard. Can you imagine, like, Don Jr. out in diplomacy meetings? I don't know if you remember this. During Trump's first term, Ivanka was at some probably like G7. I don't remember what it was, but it was in Europe, I believe. And there's all of these foreign leaders standing there talking. And Ivanka is standing there with them, and there's footage of it. And she keeps like interrupting and chiming in, and they're all kind of like looking at each other. And it was just so off-putting. I mean, these people are the worst impulses that every American has ever had. All of our character defects as a nation rolled up into one family. And this is who the majority of the American public have elected to represent us. These are not bright people.
No.
These are not smart people. These are transactional, white trash people that dress up and act like they're classy. They cosplay trying to be classy, educated people, and they're not. They are flea bags. This is a bottom feeder movement. It is going to be horrific to watch. And if we're going to put Don Jr. as a point man for diplomacy, we're so fucked. I mean, seriously, we got Elon Musk, Don Jr., Kash Patel. I can't even, it's too painful to even go through all of the potential nominees. And here's how precarious our situation is. When I think about everything going through the Senate, mm-hmm. I know that there's got to be a few Republican senators that do a no vote. And when I think about who those senators could be, I think maybe Mitch McConnell. That's how desperate. That's how desperate the times are right now. Do you remember when John McCain, before he died, he went to the healthcare vote and he did the thumbs down? Yeah. And I envision, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm like in the bargaining stage right now and I'm clinging on, but I envision possibly Mitch McConnell fucking Trump in the final days of his life in the Senate. And that's how desperate I am for some little glimmer of hope that somebody will do something right. The worst person imaginable, mm-hmm. Mitch McConnell, could possibly help save the country. Do you ever have thoughts like that?
I have had thoughts like that, but then I remember what Mitch McConnell did.
Yeah.
And I just think that's not tethered to reality. Mitch McConnell is he allowed Donald Trump to use racial slurs about his wife.
Yeah.
Why would I put any stock in him having the ability to stand up and say no on behalf of the American people? if he can't defend his wife.
You're 100% right. These are just when we're not talking about it on the podcast and kind of smiling and getting through it, and I'm in the shower and I'm thinking, oh my God, we are so fucked. This is going to be so awful. Who's going to help us? I'm like, okay, all the Dems are going to vote a certain way. Which Republican senators can, prevent Tulsi Gabbard? Which Republicans can prevent Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth? And I'm like, Mitch. But then I know, Mitch is the biggest piece of shit on the planet. He loves the cruelty of it, loves it.
Well, and, it kind of goes back to where we started the episode with Merrick Garland having some courage to release this report, the volumes that Jack Smith collected about Trump and all of his criminal behavior. Like, I have hope that he's going to release it. And then I remember reality shows he's not going to do it because he doesn't have the balls.
Reality shows that Merrick Garland's a pussy.
100%. Probably would have been a great Supreme Court justice.
No.
You don't think?
No.
Better than AG.
No. Well, listen, we have to get fighters in there that vociferously fight for human rights, that vociferously fight for democracy. Merrick Garland is really nice. I would hire him to watch my dogs. I think he would do a very good job taking care of them. I think that they would be nurtured and fed and all of this stuff. Fuck no, not on the Supreme Court. The only reason Obama picked him was because he wanted to put a moderate to show the Republicans, look, we're picking a moderate. I'm not picking a liberal. This was all appeasement by the Democrats to defer to patriarchal systems. It should have been a liberal. It always should have been a liberal. That's what you get when you're a president. You've won 2 terms, and that seat was stolen by Mitch McConnell, who I just stupidly said that sometimes I have a Hail Mary pass that maybe he will help us. But right. One final thing before we close, I do want to say the most patriotic thing that Merrick Garland could do would be to release all of this, every single bit of it, or have it leaked to a journalist, not anybody at the Washington Post for sure, but ProPublica or something like that. Release it all. And this helps some of these Republicans when I'm in the shower, like dooms washing.
Going through your list.
Yeah, going through my list of how are we going to get through this. It helps some of these moderate Republicans say the information that came out in this was too damning and his approval rating's already tanking. It helps give them some cover to not acquiesce to all of Trump's demands. And I think we desperately need that because at some point he is going to be treated as a lame duck, and it will happen sooner rather than later.
I agree, and I hope you're right, but
I'm probably wrong. I'm just sitting here saying I'm throwing up a prayer to Mitch McConnell, and I'm a liberal atheist. That's okay. So don't give any credibility to a word that I'm saying, Pumps, okay? Right. That's how desperate I am.
We're desperate.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.